Okay. All right. Here we are. We are playing 5D chess, turn zero, medium timer, random color. This is the fourth week for myself, I believe, or the fifth week rather, of the 5D Chess Pro League against Los. This is a very important game. This is a super decisive game because the outcome of this is one of only two matches that are left in the whole league. I have to play Los and then I have to play Mage next. I won't go super deep into what the bracket looks like because I haven't looked at it. All I know is that this game really determines like the outcome of who wins, who's promoted, who's demoted, whatever it is. And Andre is going to take the wheel. I have two guest commentators with me. Andre and Tones have both offered to commentate very generously. I really appreciate it. I am going to mute my mic. I'm going to deafen them, and I'm going to focus on the game, and I'm going to let them take it away. So here we are. Okay, I've unmuted Discord. Andre, Tones, you guys can go ahead. I'm going to mute now, and if there's an issue, then bring it up in my stream chat.
Samet doesn't hear us, right? Okay. So the situation is like this. First of all, Samet has to win all the remaining games to not demote, unless we count draw, and draws will not happen. Because Mage has good tie breaks.
Right.
Second of all, me and Ryan are both on 10 points. Okay, let me send a link in the chat to the spreadsheet again. Me and Ryan are both on 10 points, and we are very, very symmetric. And the only thing that differs is that I won more games against Los, and he won more games against Mage. So when Los wins, it benefits me. If Mage wins, it benefits Ryan. And
so the outcome of this match will determine both who loses the league and who wins the league.
yes. And so because we are so symmetric with Ryan, it's actually like the relative positions of Mage and Los are like exactly what determines our...
So those are also important.
Yeah, yes. So if Los ends up with more points than Mage, then I win. If Mage ends up with more points than Los, then Ryan wins the league. And if Los and Mage tie, then I and Ryan also tie. And then we will have to play one more game, I think.
Amazing.
So, and right now Los has one less points than Mage. So I'm in a disadvantage.
So in this case, you're hoping that Los will win this round.
Yes, I am
a very impartial commentator.
Yes. So I guess you will probably root for Samet, and I will probably root for Los, kind of. But I also don't really want Samet to devote. So.
Okay, let's see what we have. Very standard opening to be expected.
So in my game, Los went c5, okay, and now he plays d5.
We're seeing the moves very quickly, which is good. Samet's not trying to reinvent the wheel on straight out of the opening.
Yes,
this
doesn't try to solve the game.
This is post-Ramadan Samet.
Yes, and also he will not have to speak. Because sometimes when he starts to speak, he chooses a very long way to say simple things. No, it's not symmetry.
So,
the bishops are not symmetric, by the way. So the example of symmetry is this.
So it looks like in this kind of position, Black will be in more of an offensive position. Do you think?
I'm not sure. I think actually G4 and F5 are somewhat similar. It feels like. I usually play bishop g4 or g5 just to break the symmetry because I don't really like symmetrical positions.
All right, looks like Samet might be worried about the knight jumping into e4, which is an undefended square, so looks like he's preparing to set up defenders on that square.
Probably he just defends f2 also. So
Right, just
yeah,
gets
so
a more active queen.
Queen on e7 is sort of more solid because when knight moves to d7, it will not cut off the defense of 7. But queen on c2 kind of sees the g6 square, which can be interesting at some point.
Yeah. So just like you said, the knight has jumped to d2, which means that the other knight is defended just in case the bishop takes it, but also this has cut off the queen from defending f2.
Yes. Okay, I just realized that I, for some reason, watched the stream and not the Discord. Okay. I thought you can tell the future for a second.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Probably still.
So what do you think Black's plan is in this situation?
Okay, let me start. Black's plan. Honestly, whenever I try to come up with some sort of early attack or early, I'm very okay. Like whenever I try to plan things at this stage, it seems to not work anymore as good as it used
I
to.
see.
Yeah, because
So really, you just want to develop pieces at this point, and when a tactic
yes,
arises, you'll go for it.
yeah, but sometimes before at the beginnings of 5D chess, yeah, I pretty much just attacked without any.
Okay, now we see the bishop has gone to
Yes,
f5, attacking the
now
queen, so Samet has to block with bishop d3.
yes, but now Loss has kind of lost a tempo. But then after bishop exchange, Samet's queen will be on d3, which is sort of a little awkward. But
Right, it's a little bit of an awkward position because all of those pawns are covering all the light squares. So it sees a lot of squares, but it can't move to any of them.
yes, but and also it isn't X-raying the f2 anymore. But I think it should be fine. So yeah, at this point it's very hard to because the thing is now players have started to exceed your plans and defend, which is annoying. So you cannot just go and attack and hope they don't notice your plans.
Right.
So for example, this
They've
queen
managed-
e7. What did you want to say?
I was going to say they've managed to get out of the opening and develop most of their pieces without blundering any major tactics. So now is when you have to have a real plan.
Yeah, still I'm not very good at positional chess even in 2D. So intuitively I kind of like knight d5, but I have no idea. Yeah, probably like knight d5 and then other knight to f3 maybe.
Oh, trust me, Andre, I don't. I'm no specialty or specializer in positional chess either. That's why I play.
Yes.
That's why I play e4 is so that I don't have to play positionally.
Yes, so I guess chat will have to figure the positional play on their own.
Looks like you've spoken and chat has responded. Ryan says there's a spoiler in there. Queen c2.
Oh, okay. So it kind of makes sense because basically to give back the tempo, but to put our queen back on the more active square.
Yeah, a very quiet move, but there aren't really any major threats right now, so developing is probably the best thing to do.
Yeah, like this is exactly the kind of move that's very hard to play for me. I want to somehow always feel like I'm creating pressure. Okay, and Summit plays that actually.
And he does it.
That's nice. Actually, it somewhat discourages long castles, but for now, long castles isn't safe anymore. But at some point, things in the center might close.
Yeah, right now, castling on the queen side is definitely not advised because the queen could jump to b3 and then later travel up to b7.
Yes. Well, but even before Queen C2, it wouldn't have been great for now, I think. But at some point, it can. Okay, and no, I
Okay,
kind of hate castling because
looks like Samet is looking to develop his knight to e5 now that the other knight is no longer
yes,
guarding that square, which looks pretty good to me. It's a very active square. No immediate tactics from that, but it's always good to have a knight on your opponent's side of the board.
yeah, and then other knight can just go to f3, so you again have a knight on f3, which is always nice to have, and it defends the knight on d5. So it's very hard to get rid of that knight on d5 because you cannot really, like in 2D chess, scare the knight away with pawns, usually because pushing pawns can be very dangerous.
Narek in the chat says Andre is the most aggressive player in the pro league. It's funny, you're commenting on this quiet, so far positional game.
Well, I kind of I want to be aggressive. It's very hard to find the balance because at first I was super aggressive and it worked, and then it stopped working, and I started to play super defensively, at least against like Dreamer, and then I was losing all the time because I overcorrected, and
Okay, so Samet did play knight e5.
yeah, 95 seems like intuitive move. Mm. I'm looking forward for some more tactical positions, where I will actually be able to commentate them. Okay.
Okay, now this is a development.
Yes, this I didn't think about. uh, my first idea is just drop bishop back to g3, and now if knight takes, we take and we open up our rook, which is always nice because
It would leave
the-
f2. It would leave f2 temporarily undefended,
oh, then
which might not be a big deal.
okay, yeah, okay. Let's think where it lands. Yeah, it will land actually on this board. Oh no. Yeah, I think it will land on the board when knight is still on f3.
So, looks, chat. What's happening here is that Los has made an aggressive move with the knight, trying to capture the bishop, but in doing so, he's also left f7 exposed. So, if a bishop or a queen were to land there,
Oh, you're talking about f7, okay. But I also finally like if Samet plays bishop g3, then it sort of phases the f2. But I don't think the travel is any.
I see what you're saying. A moment ago, Samet hovered over knight takes c6, which would be an interesting stalling move, I believe.
Okay, but no, it is here travel isn't really anything because king just can move over e7 or in any of the previous positions.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So I'm not really okay. Even though I'm supposed to root for loss, I'm still rooting for Samet.
Okay, so looks like traveling is not something Samet can really go for right now, so he's considering castling. At which point, Los probably takes the bishop with the knight just to mess up white's structure.
Yes, and open up. But actually, I kind of assumed that taking with the e-pawn is bad, but it can be hard to exploit for black. And I think there are some not 5D chess players in the chat, so they might, or maybe they are done. So, anyways, if they are here, then like opening up the e file can be very dangerous because sometimes you can get checkmated in a very confusing way.
Okay, this
If
is an
people play,
interesting move. So
yes,
here's
okay,
the
so
man
Samet
saying, okay, just take the bishop,
isn't
and now
scared.
I will take the knight. He's not afraid of the e-file opening up a line to his king.
Yes, this is
Because really, it's hard. It's going to be hard to dislodge that knight.
yes, because if you push f6, then it looks kind of sus.
That's a bold move from Samet. I like it.
Yes, but probably he still wants to. So Loss basically says that Samet has to move his king now. Probably doesn't want his king to hang out on this e file, and he already puts his rook. So
Why do you think he moved rook c8?
so yeah, I think
Just
he
defending c6?
anticipates castling queenside, and because probably king doesn't want to stay on the e file. But maybe Samet can play something like queen e2, but that's like one more queen move. But it makes some sense. Or maybe Samet can go like ham and continue to ignore. For example, something like knight g5. And actually, if knight g5, then I don't think any of the knights can be kicked. Because if you play f6, you take on h7, and it looks strange because then it's threatened queen g6, which is checkmate. And if h6, then knight takes f7. It looks very sharp. So
It looks like Samet is considering this line. The only question is, does it leave his kingside too undefended? I don't think so, because the queen is able to
yeah,
quickly
for
move
now,
over.
but for now there is even no king on the queen side, so we can just let black attack. But also the question is, these knights cannot be kicked away, but is there a lot of threats? But probably there is. Taking that f pawn is. It's not the fastest, but it is. This is getting complicated. So
It is.
knight
This is
g5.
exactly what you asked for. This is exactly
Yes,
what you
yes.
asked for, Andre.
And
A nice
now I have to
back to the game.
deliver. So which is maybe like I will say something stupid.
Yes, your Samet has brought you onto the stream so that you can calculate the mate in 5 in positions like this.
It's still not the first mate. So
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, so I don't know what I would have played here. I kind of for science I want to see knight g5, but also it's a high stakes game. Because of knight g5, then you can stop knight takes f7, and I don't think black has too much counterplay. So if you can take on f7 with your knight, and then like if black tries to play something like queen h5, if you take with the g knight. Oh no, but then we don't have.
Here's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about him taking on f7, and then black takes f7 with the queen, giving up the queen, and then black, if white takes that again with the other knight, black can push the e pawn and have a bishop phase on the e file.
Okay, yes, it might happen, but like if Samet sees it, I think he can defend. So maybe he can sack the knight. They're like on d6 with check.
Right. It's a little bit far ahead to calculate, but I think in that position white should not have too much trouble, but perhaps Samet just doesn't want to go into such a scary tactical
Yes, and
line.
also Samet is using a lot of his time, which is well, it's an important move to an important decision, but he doesn't have a lot of time left for the rest of the game.
I wish we had an emote for this.
We do have an amount for this, but my sub has expired. So somebody, okay, Narik is spamming, or he just sent one emote. We need more moons. Yes.
All right. Yes, chat. We're too busy commentating, so we can't do it ourselves. So we need you to remind our star player.
Yeah, Samet is really low on time. He shouldn't be that long time. I should be happy, but I'm not. This is horrible. I thought like it's a win-win, but it's a loss actually for me. I will be sad no matter the result.
Okay, he's
Okay,
played a
so
move. He decides to
yes, he
castle.
castled, and loss immediately played knight f4. Okay. Uh, so yeah, Samet cannot really take, because then Los will still be able to phase, I think.
Right. So just because the king is no longer on the e-file doesn't mean there still isn't a travel along the e-file to hit the king in the past. So it's still dangerous.
Yes.
The Met has to wait a few more turns before he can safely move the knight away from the e-file.
Or maybe he can play like rook h e1. And then maybe he would have been able to move his knight away one move earlier, because then if Blows pushes, rook takes, and then next move it. Okay. That's... Yeah, I'm missing everything. This is a very nice move by Laws. You cannot take because queen takes. It's checkmate, and he's threatening to just travel to...
Yeah, I think queen b3 is probably best here.
But the thing is, then Laws just travels. This might
Oh,
be...
I see what you're saying. He's threatening a travel to
This...
a1.
Okay, I completely missed it, and this might be...
Queen b3 does set up a Jurassic queen, though.
Oh,
If Rose
yes,
goes
yes,
for the travel.
yes.
Might be necessary.
So we can see like a game where... Okay, but giving up the queen, I don't think can work. And Samet is really low on time. Okay.
And just like that, in two moves ago, it looked like White had a strong tactical advantage. And now, after one move
Yes.
of not attacking enough,
Yeah, let's see
it looks like it's turned
what Ryan
around and
says.
Black
Ryan
has an
says
advantage.
Ryan says Jurassic.
Ryan, tell us how you feel about Jurassics.
He doesn't care about positions after Jurassics. But this is like, it's not a scam Jurassic. It's like a pre-planned Jurassic. So
If he wins, then will it be a scam Jurassic?
but it's like, it was obvious. It's not like he can claim that it was all calculated, right?
Right. This is what he calculated when he castled.
Ryan says the defending seems very difficult, but actually, if a Jurassic before we castled, then we will have rook on a1, and there is no rook there on the middle board, so at least there will be a piece that can recapture.
Well, I
But
think
it
he might
doesn't.
consider Jurassicing all the way to turn 1 and then
Yes,
trying
yes.
to mate.
Or trying to mate, or in the worst case, just rook can recapture, I think. And then, but then maybe there is like a travel again or something. I don't know.
So I've spent far too much time looking into the theory of Jurassic queens, and I think the general strategy for situations like this is that White in this position is trying to threaten. So what White wants to do is either give checkmate, of course, or stall long enough that they can recapture the original soft mate from this timeline. So what Samet needs to do is threaten enough checkmates for long enough that Los cannot set up some sort of counterplay to his recapture.
Yes, that sounds.
Of course, it's a very long time in the future.
And sometimes if if the travel was earlier, then there is sometimes like a travel to e4 or e5 actually in this case. But here
I think in this case, the critical square is b5 because that, well, there was going to be a triagonal to the king, but now Los sees that he's played c6, which is the perfect square to defend a quadrigonal actually to the king in the future.
yes, okay, as this. So Los trades one queen.
Oh, that looks risky.
Okay, no, he doesn't submit yet. Trading queen seems. It's hard for me to not be able to. Okay, Summit looks for us. Yeah, it's quite far away, so I think trading queens isn't very good.
Right. If Los trades queens right now, then Samet will have a long time on this board while being up a queen.
Benji I says spoiler, chess battle advanced. Chess battle advanced. Spoiler, chess battle advanced. Chess battle advanced. Spoiler.
Okay, now the knight has recaptured, which it defends it defends that triagonal, but also it opens up another path to f7.
Yeah, okay, and now so this board where knight just recaptured, maybe there can be some travels to this f7, but I'm not sure how fast they are. Probably they are fast enough, right? Without scrolling, it's hard to tell.
Right. I think Samet is doing a good job of making strong threats so that Los doesn't have enough time to set up a counterattack.
Yeah, the thing is, whenever I'm in this position, I kind of start tunnel visioning on checkmating, and then at some point where it's already time to start thinking about recapturing, I still try to checkmate. And then I sometimes lose because of that.
So interesting. Ryan just pointed out in the chat that there are 3 different pieces which could potentially do a recapture of
yes,
the
actually,
knight, which is currently giving soft mate.
yeah.
So really,
Rook,
all
knight,
Samet
and
has to do is avoid being checked on some critical turns, and it should not be too hard for him to recapture. Of course, it's a long time in the future; anything can happen, but
yes,
that
but
should be his game plan right now.
it's more likely that if something unexpected happens, it's more likely that it will be good for Samet because he has timeline advantage. Okay, I didn't see where. I forgot to take to keep track of the travel on f7. So I don't now remember what the timing. But probably. Yeah,
Oh, you mean the
probably
bishop travel?
knight e5 would be good.
Knight e5 or g5 looks good, just because then the queen can move over to f3. Of course, there is always the factor that Samet has 2 minutes and 6 seconds, while
But
Los has 12 minutes.
it means that he's closer to Super Samet ever. Because he's not talking, he's post Ramadan and he has not a lot of time. So
Right.
when does Super Samet activate? Like at 1 minute or?
Well, this has been the subject of a lot of debate. What is the exact time at which Super Samet comes out? I think we can agree it's somewhere between 1 minute and 1 second. But sometimes it comes out at 59, sometimes it waits till 1 second.
Okay, but I'm already getting some Super Summit vibes. Okay, I tried to count the boards. Yeah, and now Loss probably has to defend f7 somehow, because if he doesn't, I think there will be enough time for Samet to travel to this f7.
Yeah, perhaps something like bishop f5.
Yeah, bishop f5 probably. The tempting move might have been bishop e6, but I think it actually was probably losing because there was a travel of the knight on a6 at some point, and I think it would have been very nasty if
We need to keep track of the turns. Looks like we're about 10 turns away right now.
probably something like that, maybe a little less, but it's yeah. And if the bishop moves, there's queen takes b7. Actually, yes, completely forgot about that. Queen takes
Of course,
b7.
queen takes b7 would be pretty much winning.
Yeah, so it seems like
Of course, let's not forget that Lospro still has to travel himself. So if he
yes,
travels, of
but
course, he could
he
travel
will
to
have to
f2.
travel. He will have to travel to this board to where Samet is up a queen, and he will have to travel
Right.
with the bishop probably, which
It is kind of close because if he were to take f2 and the king takes, then Lospro would have mate in one with the knight. But Samet's king does not have to take, it could just step to the side
yes.
if a bishop lands on f2. I see Mage in the chat talking about
Yeah.
queen takes b7 and then potentially traveling to c8. I see. It looks like that might not be available soon because in the future,
No, but there is still enough turns.
Los's rook is guarding c8. Oh, he means if the queen was just standing there and then traveled to c8.
Yeah, honestly, it looks very
Okay,
good for
it's
Samet.
been played. Bishop f5, queen takes b7.
Yeah, and if not bishop f5, I think there still would have been a lot of ideas. How do you even defend without moving the bishop? Like f6 or what? Or maybe g6 and
I don't really
f5?
see how he defends even for this
Yes.
one move.
Yes, because
I guess bishop c8, or sorry, rook
well,
c8 is
rook
the only move.
g8. Yes, but then like knight takes c6, and then knight can jump away with check and queen b5 or something like that. Or well, knight takes c6, bishop d7. Or actually traveling on the rook one turn back looks. No, yeah, rook will defend. It's probably good.
Yeah, pretty much. I think it would be beneficial if Samet can win without traveling because
Yes. I
Los
I
will have
always
counter
like
travels.
I always like to win without travels if I can.
But he only
But
has a
if-
minute and a half to find something like that.
Yeah, I think knight takes c6 looks juicy. Then bishop e7, and then if he plays bishop e7, then it creates actually a travel threat to e7 with the queen, which is soft mate in one. Oh wait, are there already like a Tchaikovsky ideas for loss? I'm not, probably not yet, right? Because the man was scared of it anyway.
Oh, because he did castle in the future, so if a bishop moves to c2, then it could check the king parallel in about 3 turns. Good job to Samet for seeing that.
Well, yes, but okay, loss goes for an inactive check.
No, it's still active.
Oh, it's still active. Yes. Okay. Yeah. But I don't think it works. Okay. It's still active, but I don't think it should be good. And now Samet is actually threatening travel on e7 anyway, I think. It's just not mate in one, it's mate in two. On d7. Or actually on e7 too. But it will be mate in three.
Queen travels to e7, then bishop takes e7, and then the other queen takes it.
Yes, and then bishop g5 for hard mate.
Oh, perfect. Losbro has 6 minutes to come up with something to counterplay against this. It's
Yeah, it
gonna be
seems
hard.
pretty winning for Samet. I don't like, it's actually a very interesting games from the scientific point of view. Like this question was asked from the beginnings of 5D chess: how strong are Jurassic queens and how far should you go to win?
Okay, looks like he's looking at the travel.
Yes, and it still isn't really answered. Yeah, I don't see how Lowe's can defend this travel actually. But the problem is he will have two travels and it's annoying to calculate. So maybe Samet wants to kick the bishop first, but it's less principled, but probably he should be fine with the travel, because now there is this gap. There will be this gap after Lowe's travels between timelines.
Right. So if Los makes a new timeline,
Can
it
Samet don't
won't
fly?
be able to affect these ones. You're right, he needs to move. Oh, that's an
Okay.
interesting move.
Oh yes, it's actually interesting.
Oh, probably a winning move because it travels to f7 where the knight is attacking. Okay, Los is just trying to give checks to stall.
But it isn't even a check. So it's mate and one on the board.
Oh, right.
Okay, and yeah, this is a nice travel. I forgot to look at Rosette. So good job for Samet.
Yeah, Samet is really
It's
playing strongly.
Yes, we're really seeing a post Ramadan Samet.
And it is less than 10 seconds, so
Yes,
you
and
know what
now
that
if
means.
Lowe's plays bishop e6, then that bishop cannot travel anywhere. So I think it will be just mate in one. Why is Samet not selecting his queen? Samet, make a move, please. At least select the queen.
Oh no, does he know about his clock?
I think he knows. I think
I think he's looking at the recapture.
Yes, okay. But yeah, there is no
Okay, he did it. He did it.
Yes, he did it. Poof. He scared
Well done.
me
Well done to both players.
a lot. Even though he is now one step closer to making Ryan the winner of the league.
That's the face of a champion right there. All right. In any case, looks like we have another turn 0 game. Good luck, have fun to both players. And
Yes.
Los has opened up with knight f3.
So the worst case scenario is if Samet wins this game and then loses to Page. Because then he will both demote. Okay, so it looks very
Oh,
interesting.
okay. Here he has to be careful.
Will Samet go for... Oh, yes, he has to be very
So,
careful.
very tempting to play queen b6 to go for the f2 sacrifice, which Los did not immediately defend. But if he
Yes.
does that, then there's... Oh,
Yes,
he sees it.
SMS
He's
sees it
highlighting it.
again. Okay. Yes.
I'm sorry we doubted him even for a second.
And if Shaggy explained is in the chat, this is actually how he could have won his game earlier against. So Shaggy explained played some chess, and this is exactly the tactic which take with the bishop, and then knight will check and travel back on f5.
I was actually in this exact position as black earlier today in a game against Romad.
And probably d5 here, right? Is the move.
Yeah, I think d5 is probably best just because, yeah, I mean, it's the standard structure. Like, it's a little bit sad because it looked like we were going to have some new exciting structure after c6, but
at least White haven't yet played d5, so maybe he will play something else maybe at some point. Or d4 I meant, and maybe at some point he will play c4 at least instead of d4.
yeah, so we're unlikely to end up with the same structure as last game.
Yeah, but well, he still can play d4, and it might transpose. Oh, but why is Samet even... Oh, but actually after bishop takes, he can play king d8, but it doesn't look good, and it stops the travel anyway, right?
Right. Oh, Shogi explained is indeed in the chat. Excellent to see you. Okay, so he goes for d5.
Okay, bishop is d3, like from the normal chess of view, I always kind of dislike this move, and I always somehow feel like I should prove that this is a bad move, and I don't seem to be able to do it.
What do you think is bad about bishop d3?
Well, in 2D chess, it's just sort of in front of the pawn, and you have much less options for development. But in 5D chess, there are not that many options for development anyway, so...
Yeah, I guess it does block the pawn and kind of... Yeah, you could say, I mean, in 5D chess, what you really want to do with your bishops is have them on a long open file so that you can threaten travels. But in this case, it being on d3, I mean, it's just staring at that d5 pawn, so there's not a whole lot of travels it's really threatening right now.
Low's going for some.
See, this is a pattern you see a lot in 2D chess, right? This
Yes, and sometimes in 2D chess, or at least like in Crazy House, sometimes you just take that pawn or 2 pawns for a piece. But I probably it wasn't good here.
a lot of the
Yeah.
time this is considered. I mean, this sequence of pawn pushes can be dangerous. I mean, for
Yes,
white in
and I
5D
think
chess.
here I like black more already because he gets this nice. He opens up the rook, and now he already threatens. Probably knight takes g4 unless there is something Lowe's has planned. But it seems fine because we can then block and just defend f7. So it doesn't seem like it's.
Yeah, well, Los's queen is fairly well defending on the king side. Perhaps the best plan for white here would be to try to maybe fianchetto the dark squared bishop and develop on the queen side and castle that way.
Yeah, so the question is, does white have to defend the g4 pawn? So it looks dangerous to let the knights in there, but maybe it's a bait because, as Ryan says, c3 piece take a free piece, c3 pawn don't take a free pawn.
That's right. I guess I was talking about long-term development strategies, but on this very move, if white doesn't do something to defend or to defend this situation, then yeah, black can probably just take on g5 with the knight. Because if the pawn recaptures, then rook will take white's rook on h1, and that's just a pretty rough situation.
Yeah, so if Lowe's pushes, maybe just knight g4 anyway. Okay, so he defends this way. Makes sense.
Defends
Just
the
looking
pawn
at
with
the
the knight and with the queen.
Probably the queen is the more important there, defender there, because knight will probably be kicked away. Anyway. Okay, so like just out of spite, I kind of want to play knight g4 anyway, but probably knight e4 is better.
Yeah, knight e4 could be strong because it threatens g3.
Yes, yeah, and then if Samet plays queen c7 already, he can play knight g3, fork the queen and the rook. Well, rook isn't really worth that much, or not that much more, or maybe even less than knight, but
So Los does go for the pawn push.
yes. Oh yeah, I'm in the future because now I look. I'm watching the Discord.
No, sorry. Yeah, I was behind for a second. Okay, so now he's gone for, or he's thinking about knight e4, hasn't submitted yet. Might just be
Yeah,
the best
and
move because moving knight g3, yeah, it forks two pieces, and it's really dangerous if the pawn takes it.
yes, or if he can prepare with queen c7, but then maybe lost pion.
Although, is it really that dangerous if
Yeah,
g3
because
is undefended? Because the queen is there to like step in between.
to defend everything, probably. But so you see, is knight g6 threatened because takes queen c7, queen f2, and then bishop d6.
Okay, now there's an interesting idea. If the queen moves away,
Yes.
then
But
black
actually,
could
it will.
potentially travel onto that square.
Yeah, but it will not be check, unfortunately. But
That's
it's
right.
at least a good counter to move. But probably it will not. Not very likely that it's. That white will travel even. Yeah, queen taken on.
Okay. Yeah, now we see a free piece, and so as the wisdom says,
Well,
maybe
it's
we
not
should
a free
take a
piece.
free piece.
It's a free pawn. So
Okay,
and
free
Ryan
pawn.
says not take free pawns, but Ryan. Who Ryan wants to win? Oh, Ryan wants Semet to win. So.
But the problem is, if we just take this free pawn, there's still
Yeah,
nothing
but
defending f7, and the knight is attacking it, so it
it's
could.
actually it's not just a free pawn. It's because now we the threat of knight g3 becomes very strong because now pawn cannot recapture because of checkmate, and it also tags the knight. So seems like
Okay.
queen.
Well, we have word from Ryan. This is a free pawn, so we don't take it, but we could move the queen there anyway.
Okay, yeah. So it's like a just incidentally we
One might say it's not a free pawn because none of us are really free, but that's neither here nor there.
How it can be free, and if it's a pawn. It's a pawn in somebody's game, so and it
That's
doesn't
right.
looks like by definition pawns are not free, so it's fine.
I assume this is also what Samet is thinking about right now.
Yes. I think queen queen b5 looks a little bit stronger because otherwise Solos can just he just
What about just knight takes pawn? Because that also defends f7.
no, I like queen takes b5 more because it creates initiative, and now
I don't know. Oh, go ahead.
if Lowe's just defends the knight, then there is something like queen b2 maybe, and then if rook moves, then maybe rook takes, or not b2, g2, and then if rook moves, rook takes h3, then like rook h1, and Lowe's still doesn't have any pieces developed on the queen side, so it doesn't look like he will be able to castle away very quickly. So I think queen takes b5 should be the best
I
move
don't
here.
know. Even I'm a little bit hesitant to allow the opponent such an obvious thing to play for. It could be good though.
I don't think he will have time because queen takes. Are you going to play knight takes f7 right away?
Oh, I was thinking of queen f3.
Oh, queen f3. Oh, I see. Yes.
But then maybe you just play queen f6 and you don't really have a problem. Trade queens.
Yeah, let me think. Yeah, okay, nice. So I think like this is the first turn that the travel is good. Okay, and now I think
Oh wow.
I think it's probably actually well, he didn't submit yet, but even though I kind of like to sack my knight like that, I think here it's probably not a good move because queen b2 actually defends c3, so it will be very hard for Loss to get his queen
Yeah, I
into
agree.
the
And Samet is looking at that very move.
And unless I'm missing something, it looks like Black's king should be more or less safe.
Okay, but what is Black's plan after Queen G7, or sorry, Queen G2 and then Rook F1?
I think just rook takes h3.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that is quite strong.
And I don't think Casimir checks for travels, but so rook takes h3 if Lowe's tries to develop his queen side. I don't think he can be in time to castle out of danger.
Oh, an anonymous chatter has pointed out that after those moves, Knight G3 would also be quite strong.
Oh yes, and knight g3, yes. And Samet actually he's doing our job and he tells that he wants to play knight g3. Yeah, knight g3 seems
Yeah, that's
close,
brutal. Attacking
close
the queen.
to game over. And I think knight takes f1 will be actually a very strong threat. Because it looks like we're just exchanging all the taken pieces and why are we doing that, but then essentially any travel to the turn, I think will, or not to that turn, but to a specific turn will be soft mate. Which is a tactic that, and Samet, yes, but Samet actually seen it already before, knight g3.
Yeah, so the knight is threatening the queen, and if the queen doesn't, if the queen leaves the defense of the rook, then it's mate in one. So the queen has to move somewhere along that diagonal.
Yeah, but there is only one square available, and I think after that just rook takes knight takes f1, queen takes. It's very strong because if then Samet travels with something to this board where his queen is still on f2 or on g2, then it will check the king. So it's like an advanced Tchaikovsky. Chess battle advanced.
And it always amazes me how you come up with those in every game somehow. Especially if I was winning before that.
Yeah, I might look for them a little bit harder than for other tactics because it's like my favorite tactic. Sometimes I try to go for it even if I suspect it's best. I still want to
It's
make
like
it work.
watching. It's like going bird watching. You're
Like
just looking. You're just looking for them everywhere you go.
yes. Yeah, queen g3 seems like the only move here. So maybe knight takes f1, or maybe actually rook takes h3 first, because then knight takes f1 is I think it's sort of a mate threat because then knight takes f1, queen takes f1, queen takes f1, king takes f1, and then rook h1. Oh no, taking that knight is probably not advisable. Okay, because it was there for a rather long period of time. Oh,
Yeah,
but
that.
also,
Oh,
oh
that's
no, I
scary.
was about to blunder mate in two. Okay, the same way Samet blunders in one of his games. So yeah, probably just take on f1 now. And takes twice on f1, and then rook takes h3. Seems like it should be winning. And actually then, maybe at some point, it will be safe to recapture the knight on f7, because there will be no way to, even because of checks, there will be no way to travel white to the board where there is still like a knight on f7 to check the king.
So if Samet takes the rook and then we trade off all the pieces, can he then just play like any rook move and then
Yes.
Jurassic rook to that exact square with the queen so that it is checking the king in parallel?
Yes, I think it's. Oh, Samet's hovering on a disgusting move, which can work actually.
Queen
But,
takes f2.
well, but probably it's way too.
Oh, that is quite.
I see his idea, but I'm worried about some counter travels on g6. For some reason he doesn't consider taking on f1. Okay, he considers taking on f1. Take on f1. Why am I rooting for Samet? I don't know. So, yeah, Loss threatens mate in 2 with knight jump, and then queen takes g6, which will be very. Saint really shouldn't blunder that.
Right, so Samet has to do something in this position.
Yeah, so I really scared when he hovers over queen f3. Oh, actually, a queen defense on g6, so maybe there will not be any bad counter travels.
Yeah, still taking the knight on f2, or sorry, on f7 with the queen still seems a little bit inadvisable because
Yes.
if white travels back to the past, it could potentially check the king just from where it was already sitting.
Yes, so it's definitely not what I would want to calculate. So if I can avoid calculating king takes f7, I will avoid, and I will just play take twice on f1. And then basically after that, every rook move comes with a soft mate threat. And after a while,
Yeah, even if the first threat of a Jurassic rook
so yeah,
doesn't work for some reason.
yeah, this travels actually I don't think is good, because after he goes there, rook takes, queen takes, white still in time to block on f1. Just take on f1.
He's
Okay.
using up a lot of time. We're getting into the same time situation as last game, in which
Yeah,
Samet
but
seems to have a winning position, but also is quite down on time.
yeah, he's charging up the super Samet. Makes sense.
Of course, if he does, spend all his time calculating and then plays the right set of moves, then you can't say it was time wasted.
Yes. Okay, so I don't see any moves in the chat or anything. So actually, yeah, he probably will not play the bad move. And after he trades on f1, I think then he can take the knight on f7, and then it's not as scary because of checks. Although, yeah, it's
Yeah, I
hard to
think
visualize.
trading the
Uh,
pieces and then taking the knight seems just fine because
Well, probably a little like a
even if
little
there
bit.
wasn't this Otto Tchaikovsky tactic,
Yes. Yeah, this travel is really not good because rook can just take this.
Nathaniel says the issue is where the opponent uses their time to find a line that Smet didn't calculate. That is
They
the
just
problem.
take on f1. Okay, it's somewhat of a how do you call it? A sunk cost problem because he probably doesn't want to play simple move after calculating for so long. Yes, play f1. Do it. No. How do you expect to win with 10 seconds? Okay, so he goes for a travel that I don't think works.
And now we have a game.
Okay, so it looks like probably now Samet is losing because Loss can just take the knight and then play queen f5. Or maybe Samet like calculated some two timelines things, but I don't think so.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about this line. Okay, people in chat are saying that we might be missing something. This might actually be good for Samet. Let's see what they're talking about. So obviously rook takes knight, probably the only move. Then queen. Okay, queen takes rook would not be instant mate because there's not enough passed boards to check the king.
Yes.
Oh, but white just goes straight for a counter travel.
And now, but this actually makes probably Samet's travel stronger because then. Oh no, there's rook on
Well,
the board.
I mean, now Samet would just have an extra travel, which is always good.
Yeah, so what am I missing? I'm wondering. I might very well be missing something. Oh, he can then just recapture on f1.
Okay, so Los confirms the travel. No
Okay, but okay,
immediate
so
threats for Samet, but he only has 10 seconds.
I think okay. Now I'm wondering if it was working, but I think it was white to move before the travel.
Oh, that was strong though. Samet can travel in parallel to take the queen, and I don't. Is there anything Los can do about that?
Well, it was still Los's move before Los traveled.
I mean, on this current timeline, on +1L.
What do you?
I meant knight from e4 travels.
Oh,
Well, it's
yeah,
gone now.
it
Okay.
actually looks strong because it will actually now it will be check, and it will be behind the gap. So
Yeah. Okay. So Los takes the knight, probably smart.
yeah, but so now actually Samet's travel works for sure. If you are watching it in the future and it works, then this I don't know what to say. Don't trash talk
This
too
is
much.
has suddenly gotten very complicated. So the queen from the top
So
timeline is
now
checking the
it's
king in the past
yeah
and on the
now
bottom timeline.
now it for sure. Oh yes, Samet goes for this. Yeah, now it for sure works. I think. It's okay. I can think about whether this travel was working. Takes. The queen blow.
Okay, so what is the current situation? Los is... Oh, he's made another move. Okay. He has to
Yeah,
recapture.
I think Samet travel wasn't working actually, but it was complicated how the timelines interacted.
Okay,
I
now
think it
Los
still
can
wasn't working
recapture
because
that queen.
yeah, I was too caught up figuring out.
Oh, I don't even know who is winning in this position anymore because Samet's king just moved up. Although Los doesn't have any more travels, and Samet has 2 travels.
It's okay. This is crazy.
And now we're up to 20 seconds delay per move. So it's 5 seconds per timeline. We have 4 timelines. Although 20 seconds is really not enough to think of 4 good moves on 4 timelines. So you really have to be thinking about your moves before the opponent even plays their 4 moves on their timeline.
Well, at least in the short clock. But here probably it's more or less okay. He lost goals for some very okay. Was actually I'm not sure what to do with for Samet here. But the thing is, probably this bishop will travel somewhere soon.
Yeah, maybe go for a bishop travel from 0L. Okay,
Yeah, but
right
it
there, he
will,
just has to save the king.
yeah, it will have a next move. No, but why did he move the
Oh,
bishop?
he moved the bishop. Oh no. Okay. What's... Okay, he took 20 seconds, didn't really lose any time on that move. That's good.
Well, it's unlikely he will flag lows, so. Okay, so now there will be a knight travel. Oh no, there will not be. Queen defense. Maybe at some point. So where the king checks. I think queen f4 will be checkmate next move, or path check at least. Yeah, but maybe Samet actually wants to play bishop f6 and then travel.
I think that might have been his idea, but... Or actually, perhaps he was just trying to block... No, that doesn't make sense. I thought maybe he was trying to block a line to the king, but it's blocked on every board, so it doesn't matter.
Or maybe
Okay,
he just moved. Maybe he just moved. And
yeah,
he decided to
he just
sync
picked a
play.
move.
But actually, traveling from f6 might be stronger because it lands on some more
Well, he's looking at the
sharp
boards, so he knows he has to
But
travel here.
unfortunately, traveling can be illegal because of the knight on f7.
That's right. Now that the king is on, or the king was on f7, there are some travels which are no longer even legal because of the knight sitting on f7. That's a good point. This is getting difficult to commentate because we're so far zoomed out. It's hard to see the pieces.
So this is your excuse.
Of course, not because of the complexity of the game or anything. If I could see
Yeah.
the boards, I'd see the mate in one instantly.
So interesting. Was this defense by Laos actually sound? Like, I don't see how Samet could have prevented it.
You mean after Samet went for the knight travel that didn't quite work?
Yeah. This rook recapture I'm talking about of the queen.
Oh, I see.
So here actually, I like on the bottom board bishop d6. Just, well, I think it's the only move probably that doesn't lose immediately, or doesn't get soft mated immediately.
Oh, that's a
But
strong
then, yeah,
travel.
probably Laos will have some strong travels. Okay, this is h5 recapture, but I think the next move queen will check. Probably you want to attack the queen. Okay, moon. Okay, probably this is...
That's right. Really soon it's going to be soft mate for Los because of that queen sitting on f4.
Yeah, I think next move.
So Samet's going to have to use whatever travels he has.
And he doesn't even have that many... Doesn't have that many pieces.
Question is, what checks can Los give to prevent travels? He's got two queens on +1L and +2L.
The real question is what travels does he even have to defend? Because bishop isn't phasing yet on the +1L.
Yeah, if Samet can survive 2 more turns, then that bishop on +1L will become very strong.
One more turn even, but...
Oh, right.
Or two, because he pushed pawn 2, so there is 2 spare window.
Mage is cheering for Los.
Mage is cheering for loss. This is interesting. Because I think...
But here in the commentary, we are only believers.
because I think Mage probably... Mage probably benefits from Lowe's losing? I'm not sure. Oh, no, but like, he's already unreachable by Lowe's, I think, right? Oh, no, he's reachable by Lowe's.
Okay, we're back in move mode. Samet has to come up with moves in 20 seconds. And it looks like there is soft mate on the board.
Yes, I don't... it's probably some travel, but most of the travels are really short, so I don't even see anything.
Oh, that's a long bishop travel. He might just have to fire it off.
Oh, yes.
Oh, he
should have just gone for it. Okay. Probably...
Oh, what a way to end.
Not sure if this travel was...
Good game to both players.
Yes, good game. In the hindsight, I was kind of right. Probably he should have taken on f1.
Yeah, in hindsight, it did look like a strong move. Man, this was a crazy game though.
Yes. But now there is still chance for me to get into a complete tie with Ryan if Samet 2-0's mage. But Samet is now not motivated to 2-0 mage as much as I am motivated for Samet
That's
to
right.
2-0 mage.
So to sum up, now, so it's pretty much the bottom end of the league has unfortunately now been decided, I guess. But
Yes.
this result has left it open, so the top end of the league, who's going to win the Pro League, is still undecided, right?
Yes.
Wow.
Hello, I'm back.
Hello.
Hi, Samet.
Hi,
Great
guys.
games.
I'm
yeah.
not okay.
What a way to end.
What a way to end is right. I feel really bad.
No, you played really well.
Dude, I spent so much time. I wasted so much time. And
Well,
then
yeah,
I 100% I was paralyzed by whether to go in. I was pretty sure that I had win with like the knight g3 idea. And then I spent so much time that I like didn't give myself time to develop a follow-up. I gave myself like 30 seconds to figure out how to take back like after his travel and get like the counter travel, you know, with the other queen. And then, you know, I didn't have much time, so I didn't see that he could just recapture with the rook, which makes sense.
Yeah, that was a hard situation. We didn't really see that either until it came up.
Yeah. Man, GG's to Los. Credit where it's due. That was good. He played really well in the second game. I definitely was like it was like my game to lose, and I did. Which happens, but you know, I mean, it happened. Like really what I probably should have done, like I'm pretty confident that if I had just went queen c7, which was like what I wanted to do off rip, then I would have saved myself like 18 minutes of thinking, and I think I was much better out of that opening. But instead I just wanted to end it.
I actually liked queen b5 more.
Queen b5.
Yeah, and I liked knight g3. I think you just had to take on f1 twice.
Wait,
and
queen
then
b1. Sorry. Say. Oh, right. Oh, yeah. Can you just tell me? Because I spent all of my time trying to figure out how to convert from here. And I went for, I think this line was bad. I considered sacking my queen into f2, but it got really messy. But like, I think it would have worked.
Yeah, I think the sort of the simplest way that gives the least counterplay is just take twice on f1.
Yeah. Take twice
and
on
then
f1 and
actually
then just
it's
travel back
important to take with the
with
knight
like the
first,
queen or
actually.
something. Yeah, because you want the queen on the
board.
board and then like Tchaikovsky or whatever, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Dude, it literally, oh my god, I got so, like, I can't, if I had like a heart rate monitor, I literally just froze up. It was 100% nerves here. I was trying to figure out like what combination of like takes and then how do I do it, but oh man, no, you're totally, because then he also doesn't have travels, and of course that's the cleanest way. I was paralyzed trying to find the mate here. Like I also probably could have waited.